Hello everyone and welcome to a new video today. I'm going to be listing 10 changes I would like to see in Marvel Snap. Now none of these changes are going to be about card acquisition and the monetization of the game. There are plenty of other great videos and opinions out there on that topic specifically, on that side of the game. It's not something I really want to go into here. These are just going to be cosmetic and quality of life changes and maybe occasionally gameplay changes that I would love to see in the game in the future. And so that's it. Let's get into it. And to kick things off at number 10, I have gone for default card backs, titles, and icons. I love the addition they made where they put in sort of customizable icons and titles and card backs for each deck. It lets you sort of make each one feel personal. It lets me do things like have my Deadpool deck, have the Deadpool icon, and have my Phoenix deck be Phoenix based, and I love that. However, there is the slight problem with it in that when I then want to make a new deck real quick or throw one together, or I want to make a few alterations in a secondary deck like Sentry and Sentry 2, when I open it up, I get this sort of like standard card back and no title and an icon, which is just not something I want to play in the game with. I want to use these cool things that I have. And so I would love to just be able to sort of set one of these icons and card backs and stuff to be just a default one, so that whenever you start a new deck, it puts them in, and it just saves me a little bit of time every single time I want to make a new deck and go into a game without having the sort of basic silhouetted one and no title every single time. And at number 9, I've gone for a friends list feature. There have been so many times I've been playing Snap, and I've played against a crazy homebrew deck, and all I've wanted to do is be able to message this person afterwards and ask them for a deck code or praise them for playing such a cool deck, and I just can't. I'd love to be able to add someone afterwards, like you can in things like Hearthstone. Also, being able to easily invite someone to a Snap game rather than the friendly battle code things that you have at the moment would be good, and then be able to spectate games or maybe even look at someone's favorited variants from one of these friends lists. I think is would just be something that would be really cool in the game, and I'd love to include. And coming in at number 8, I've gone for favoriting multiple variants. There are some cards that I absolutely love playing and I have multiple really cool variants for. The example I've gone for here is Deadpool. I love Scott Young art, so I love this variant that he does here. And I also love all the baby variants that he does. So I love my baby variant Deadpool as well. And who doesn't love the Taco Deadpool? I mean, it's just such a gorgeous piece of artwork. But the problem is, in my deck, I'm not going to play all of them. So generally, I'll pick one, and this isn't just Deadpool, this is for all of my cards. I'll pick my favourite variant at the time, and I'll put it in. And I don't want to have to come into the deck every time and change out if I want to have some fresh artwork in the deck. I think it would be really cool if you could favourite multiple different versions of a card, and then have them sort of cycle through as you're playing the game. I think imagine being able to do that for every single card in the deck, and then every deck you load into, you've got different variants of artwork, and it gives the whole game a little bit of a fresh feel. Every game feels a bit different, and you're not staying at the same arc, and you also get to see all these cool variants that you've got tons of, but never get to see because you're only playing with the one that you maybe like a slight bit more, or the newest one you've got that you've put into the deck. I just think it'd be a really cool addition, and I think it's definitely possible, and I hope they do add it in at some point in the future. Now, number 7. Originally, this spot was actually taken up by a PC new interface. However, in between me making this list and going to record it, Marvel Snap actually brought out a proper PC interface, and I like it. It's good. It's not perfect. I'm sure there'll be changes, but I think it's good. And so that I've had to move a few things around. And so the new number 7 is new emotes. I've got the 5 up on screen, but I'm pretty sure anyone who has played Marvel Snap even a little bit could probably close their eyes and list the 5. And I think they're good. I think they do a job. I think there's so much more scope to add new ones in, though. And I am aware, any of you that aren't, in this sort of San Diego Comic Con, they did announce there will be new emotes. This is the shots, the pictures that were taken at the time. I grabbed them off of Marvel Snap Zone here. And I think these are good. I think there's so much more variance in these. I hope this is a scope for more, and you can have them in the track. I hope these aren't all sort of like hidden behind a paywall. I hope you get some sort of season pass ones. Maybe each season pass character has its own emote that you can use. I love this leader one, by the way. So this was announced. This was back in July that they said this. So I hope it comes soon, and I hope this is just the beginning. But yeah, I think new emotes are something that should be in Marvel Snap. Now, next on the list, I have gone for a side deck. And before I explain this, I am aware this is probably the least feasible. It's the biggest change. It might not even be good for the game. It's just something that I would love to see in the sort of conquest format that we have. I think it can be very polarizing if you bring some tech cards. For example, I'm playing my Dark Hawk deck and I've brought Killmonger and Shang-Chi, and I get one game in and I realise what I really need instead is armor or something, or rogue, and then because I've brought the wrong tech card, the whole game is so much harder for me to win, just because of 50-50 of which tech card to bring into the matchup. And I know it completely changes the way that Conquest actually works, so perhaps it wouldn't be Conquest by itself. Perhaps instead it should be a third game mode or a time limited game mode that comes in every now and then. But I would love to be able to sort of make a side deck and dip in between games and change out a card, and I think it adds this whole new layer, because then your opponent can do the same thing. Maybe they brought one thing one game and then you go in to counter them and they've changed it up for the next one. I think it could be really interesting when you've got these sort of multi-game formats like Conquest to be able to change your chop and change your deck in sort of small ways in between games. Now, for number 5, I've just popped some gameplay on in the background to show you what I mean when I say that I would love a new game board background in Marvel Snap. I think it's such a beautiful game full of amazing artwork, and yet we're sort of stuck with this base default game board that we've had since the beginning of the game. And the PC client has given us some new stuff, like the globe is a bit more, the earth in the background is a bit more sort of detailed, the whole board is a bit detailed. I was hoping that we'd get more. I'm sure it's coming eventually. It's probably just quite low down on their list, but I think it's such a cool way. I mean, the obvious way to do it would be sort of an in-game, in the store you can buy sort of game backgrounds. Maybe it's part of the Game Pass. You be able to customize however you want. Maybe it's even to do with cards, game locations like Necrotia, like I've shown there. Maybe the first location every game can sort of spread out, and it's a Necrotia themed game board that game or something. Or maybe it's only for special locations, like the hot location. Maybe it's the hot location of the week, or the new location gets to take up the background. Maybe it's Magic, for example, when a Limbo thing, whether through Magic or not. Maybe when Limbo appeared, wouldn't it be cool if when Limbo arrives on the field and the board becomes this sort of fiery limbo-y area just sort of emanates out, and you get this really cool game board to show you and immerse yourself in this sort of like, oh, this is a different game to most. This game's lasting 7 turns. It would be such a cool experience, whether that's it or not. I just think there's so many ways you could do it, and it's something that I would absolutely love to see in the game. Now, for number 4 on the list, I have gone for goals and achievements. Now, I know achievements aren't everyone's cup of tea. Some people can't be bothered. Some people love completing all of them. But I just think there is definitely an opportunity to have something like that in the game. I think you could go down the route of you could have lots of different very complicated achievements, doing very complicated things in the game, maybe interactions between characters, like have all the X-Men on the field at once or whatever. But I think there could also be sort of more simple ones for milestones in the game, which I think could be really cool. I think I think maybe the first time you hit Infinite, maybe there was an achievement to hit that where you get a special Infinite variant. Or maybe there's every time you hit Infinite you can pick a new Infinite variant, or whatever it is. Or maybe there's the first time you get a certain amount of power, you get a certain card or a certain card back. And I just think it's a way of sort of showing everyone that you've done something cool in the game. It's a way of seeing something. It's a way of on someone else's board and think, oh, I know what that is. It's great to get a cool variant, to feel like a bit of an exclusive club if you've done it. And it's something to do if you sort of run out of these weekly challenges, or you don't feel like playing ladder, or you don't feel like playing Conquest, but you want something cool to do in the game. Having some of these really cool achievements, I think, could be a really cool thing to spend an afternoon doing, to spend in the game. And I think it would be really cool. Now, at number 3, I have gone for favouriting characters for new variants. Now, this may sound a little bit confusing, so sort of bear with me. As an example, I am collection level 6800, which is not the highest in the game by a long way, but it's quite high. You know, my collection's fairly complete. But I don't, other than the season pass, I don't really put any money into this game, which means the gold that I sort of accrue is quite valuable to me, and I don't really like to spend it on sort of variants in the shop, for example. And a character I love in real life and in the game is Professor X. I love the Lockdown decks, and I love Patrick Stewart in the films growing up. But despite being a pretty high collection level, the only non-base variant I have is a pixel variant. And, I mean, don't get me started on these. Pixel variants in general nearly made it on this list because I don't think they should exist. They're really annoying. I get why they're there. But I would just love a new variant for my Professor X without having to spend gold on it or wait for a good one to come up in the shop. And there's quite a few like this. Like, I like Stature, and I only have the one for her. And there's also a couple more as I sort of scroll down and see them. But I just think it would be really cool if you could select a character you really like and sort of have a favoriting thing, not for the specific variant, but for the character. And then maybe in the shop, for example, there is always one of these slots that is your favourite character. So you're guaranteed to get options for your favourite character, new variants for him every single day. And then perhaps in the season pass, where you have these sorts of mystery variants, one of them could be a favorited character mystery variant, or like a super rare one, just so that you feel like your collection is you have a little bit of control, because it's so random what variants you get, that sometimes it would be nice, I think, just to be able to pick, I want this card, I want a variant for this card to put in the deck, so I don't have to have the same Professor X in my deck every single deck since I unlocked him months and months and months ago. And then maybe you could also do things like that favourite character comes up more likely to come up when you're opening packs or reserves. There are plenty of things you could do for it. I just think it's something that would make sense in the game. I think it's a little quality of life thing that they could do that would just make everyone playing be able to play with their favourite characters and be a bit happier about it. And at number 2, I have gone for card token variants. I remember packing this Dan Hip Brood. I'm a massive Dan Hip fan, and I was so excited. I put him into my Silver Surfer deck, and I went into the ladder, and I was so excited to play him down, only for then the same broodlings to come sort of scuttling out of it. And I know it would be so much more work for them to have to get the artwork for the tokens for each of these cards, but I just think it would be so cool, if not for every card, then for the cool ones, the rare ones, just because I think it would make people want to play these cards so much more. I mean, imagine if the Christmas variant of Rock Slide, the rocks were covered in snow when they got thrown in, or they had little scarves on. They were mini snowmen instead. Imagine if the Venomized Thanos gave you Venomized Infinity Stones. There's so much scope to do this really cool artwork in this game, to do so much more of it. And I think it would, if anything, was to make me spend money on a variant. Something like this would absolutely make me do it. I know I'm not alone in this opinion. I've seen it tons online. I think I've seen Marvel Snap makers Second Dinner sort of mention it before. So hopefully it does appear at some point. Hopefully it's not just for like 1 or 2 very exclusive variants that are unbelievably expensive. Hopefully it does sort of become sort of a widespread thing. But it's something I would absolutely love to see in the game. And finally, number 1 on my list of 10 things I would love to see implemented into Marvel Snap is a card archive. A lot of the time when I want to spend some tokens quickly and just get some collection levels, I'll just sort from quality high to low and just scroll down until I get to, and here's my point, until I get to these cards that I can upgrade for the most, get through the quickest, to unlock some more collector's tokens. And I scroll past constantly cards like when I've tried to get a gold foil split, or an inked split, where I've just got sort of 3 or 4 of exactly the same card, like this armor and this bishop, where they're all the same, and there's no point in me having all of them. Or maybe there's variants that I don't want in here, like maybe there's a pixel variant that I just don't want to see. I'm not going to use it. I'd love to be able to just sort of click on these variants and have a button maybe here that moves them into a card archive, and then maybe an access to the card archive on the screen somewhere as well. So they're still there. I'm not getting rid of them forever, but I just don't have to scroll past loads of cards that I have no interest in using at the moment, in order to actually get to the cards I want to see. I think it's definitely possible to do. I think it's just a lovely quality of life change that I would absolutely love to see implemented into the game. And that is my list for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments which of these you would most like to see in the game, as well as any that you think I may have missed and I should have made it on here. There was multiple things. There were lots of honourable mentions that just didn't quite make it onto the list. So be sure to let me know if you think I've been stupid here, and how this list could be improved. Also, feel free to suggest any new Marvel content you guys want to see on the channel, or any other games you might want to see. This is obviously a new channel. There's lots of stuff I could do here. One thing I was maybe thinking was having a bit of a deep dive into the stats you can get of things like Marvel Snap Zone, and maybe looking at underrated cards, overplayed cards, things like this. Let me know if that's something that you guys would be interested in seeing. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope I will see you guys next time. See you later.